do here is I've already checked my contact pattern on this valve. We're a little high, we're a little wide. We're going to blip this with a 45-degree cutter, then we're going to hit it with the 60-degree down here just to clean that up, and then we'll lower this contact area on the valve with the 30-degree cutter. Got all these stones. I've already trued them all, checked them with a straight edge, put a little bit of wax or polishing compound on there to smooth the cut. These gray stones are a little more aggressive than these ruby stones, but I don't have a ruby stone that's that size. Alright, that has reestablished our 45. Just blip it a little bit more. You don't want to go too aggressive on this cast iron. These are intake valves and they do not have seats. The exhaust valves do have seats. So I'm not going to take this out and check it with Prussian blue just yet. We're going to blip it with this 30-degree stone. You only have to true these stones once per valve job. I've already trued them all. So truing them just means that you're going to true it with the stand to set to a certain angle and clean the stone up. You just need to take a skim pass. Okay. It's kind of hard to see, but that 30-degree angle is coming in. I'm shooting for about a 1/16 of an inch from the top. That's where this one is. Now I haven't rinsed this block yet, so we're gonna rinse this all down when I'm done, because you can see all that abrasive. We don't want that in the engine. Now, there's a lot of debate on how to do this, but you're gonna take a little bit of Prussian blue and just wipe it along on the inside here. Some people use a Sharpie. This is the correct stuff to use. Just trying to get a thin coat, because what you're after is to see where your valve contact face is. You know, Prussian blue is in a grease medium, so it's a little bit thicker, but you want to try and get it not so thin that it doesn't read, but thin enough that you're not getting a false read either. And then what I do, and this is the reason you have a pointer on your valve tool here, there's a little pointer here, so you're going to take it from the 12 o'clock position, rotate it all the way past 12 o'clock, come back to 12 o'clock and a little bit past, pull your valve, and look at your contact area. So if you look at that contact area, that tells us we're a little bit wide or a little bit high. So we're going to hit that with a 30-degree stone and move that contact pattern down just a little bit. And a little trick for your valve tool, these are the most aggravating tool ever, is I just put a little bit of light oil. This is actually whey oil. Just put a drop or two on this and smooth it around. And then this valve tool will hang on pretty good. So that's the way I do it. You can see it's still just a little wet. And 30-degree stone. This is called vibrocentric. And what happens is this little spindle on here actually bounces a little bit. This is kind of like when you're lapping valves. You go back and forth and you lift it and take a fresh cut, put it down, lift it. That's what this machine does. So put that at 12 o'clock and rotate it past 12 o'clock and back again. That just ensures that you're getting a contact all the way around. That's all it is. Okay. So let's do that again. So even as thin as I put that Prussian blue on there, it's still a little bit thicker than I'd like. So let's do it again, because we're trying to achieve a gas seal. So you can imagine that's got to be a pretty close match with the valve seat. So you can see the margin's right there, and it's just a touch below the margin. So we still need to hit that with the 30-degree stone again. I'm sure the internet's going to be telling me I ought to have gloves on when I'm doing this, but guys, I can't feel what I'm doing with gloves on, and we're cleaning all this anyway, so it's irrelevant. this will not hurt anything at all. You don't want to touch any of your bearing journals or anything like that with bare fingers because of the acid on your fingers. But this is fine. This is not going to hurt anything. Okay. So now I've got a wide contact pattern. Let's try that again. You want to be dead sure. I'm shooting for about a 1/16 of an inch off of the edge and about a 1/16 of an inch wide. And actually, if you look at that, now that we redid it, that's just about right. So we're just about a 32nd off of the edge there, and then, which is perfect, and then that seat contact area, that could be just a little wider. So we'll hit that with a 45-degree stone. Okay, so I've gone ahead and put this ruby stone on there and got it trued up and checked it with a straight edge. You'll see some dark marks on here. That does not mean that's a pit or anything like that. It's just oil and stuff and metal that gets embedded in the abrasive. So let's see if this ruby stone cuts us a little bit better. Yeah, that's a lot better. So our pattern has widened out now. That's what we wanted. And now we need to come back in with the 30-degree stone and get this away from the margin. Now if it was too low down here, we'd hit that with a 60-degree. You can tell this really needed some cleanup. This was really grungy in here. So I would say that this definitely needed more than just a lap. Definitely needed to have these cut, and I don't think that these have ever been cut before. I think we probably wiped out our 45 on here trying to move that down, but that's okay. Sometimes that happens. If that happens, don't panic. You've got to move it down. Okay, we've got that about where we want it. Alright guys, we got all these valve seats done. Got good contact on all these valves. So we're set on that and ready to move on to the exhaust valves. Number 6 here gave me a little trouble. Now watch this. See how that stops right there? I don't know what the deal is. I don't remember doing this when we assembled this motor before. It's just at the bottom of the guide. It's like it's hitting. It's like it's hitting on this step right here. And I checked this valve for straightness. I even chucked it back up in the grinder and reground it. I don't know what the deal is. I thought maybe the bottom of this valve stem was bent, but if you put a straight edge across it, let's see if I can hold this and do this at the same time. Looks okay. Looks okay. Looks okay from the stem over to the bottom where the keepers go. I just don't see any wackiness here, and it seemed okay in the machine too. So I don't know why it's doing that. It only does it when I turn it to certain directions, like there's a burr in the valve guide right there. Yeah, that's weird. That doesn't affect it where it's operating. It's not going to open clear up to here, but yeah, that's weird. You can hear it's got a good gas seal. That's an old mechanic's trick. You pull your valve up, put your finger on the bottom of the guide, and if it makes that bloop sound, you've got a good gas seal, which means you're not going to be sucking oil up the guide. Now you should measure your guides as well and put a dial indicator on your valve and See how much wobble you've got back and forth in a couple of different directions. Okay, well hopefully you can see this, but I went ahead and found another valve. I had a couple of them sitting around that are in good shape. They're just dirty, needed to be recut. So I tested them in there, made sure they fit in the guides after I cleaned the stem on them. And this one here was the original. You can see that catches. It hangs up and it's like it's bent. I don't really want to use that. But this one, that goes right down inside there. So I'm going to do a quick check and make sure that that is going to have a good contact face on here still. It should, because it's ground with the same machine, so there really shouldn't be any difference between any of these valves. They all ought to be interchangeable. That's different from when you lap them. When you lap them, they are a fit for the valve to the actual seat itself. So they're ground to fit. That's lapped together. This is not. That's the good thing about having this machine. It will do every valve the exact same. Same with the seats. The only difference between the seats is you're raising or lowering the contact area on the valve, which is why I'm putting the Prussian blue here. You can put it on the valve too and pattern the seat as well. Sometimes I'll do that. I did it on number 5, or maybe it was 6 that we were having trouble with. And that can kind of give you some feedback as to where the problem area is, where it's contacting. So if you put it on the valve itself, then you can look and see where it's not contacting the seat and grind it to match. So back and forth helps a lot. But that valve looks really good. I cleaned it up on the bench grinder, and that looks really nice. Plenty of margin left on here. I believe your spec is 10 thousandths. You just don't want a razor edge on that margin. The margin is this dark area here. So this is the face here, stem, in case you don't know those things. But I like how this one fits a lot better. There's no interference at all. Goes in there the way it should. I do think there's a little burr at the bottom of that valve guide, and I did run a deburring tool carefully around the bottom of it. And that did seem to help a little bit with the old valve, but not enough. So we're just going to go ahead and put this new valve in and check that gas seal with some Prussian blue. Okay, so we just got done checking that gas seal or contact pattern. I don't know if you can see that, but I measured it. It came out the exact same. So I've got 30 seconds from the edge, and then my contact area is 1/16. So and the book doesn't tell you how far to put it from the edge, so I'm just doing like I've done on other engines. Usually it's a 30 seconds away from the edge. This is an intake valve, but their specs for the intake and exhaust are the same. I might look in another book and see what they say, because that kind of seemed a little vague. But point is, this valve goes down inside there really nicely. It's very free in there. Contact pattern is good. So we're going to roll with that new valve. And I think that this valve here, we're just going to chuck in the garbage. I don't know what's wrong with it. I'm not even screw around. I want to make sure this is right the first time. Alright guys, we are finally done with the valve job, and now we've got a lot of abrasive all over this motor, so I want to get that cleaned out. I've got paper towels down the board just to keep some of it out of there. I'm trying to wash it through, you know, and get it spread through anything else. So we'll just yank these out. I'm going to blow this off with high pressure air. And then I'm going to start pulling all of the plugs and the fittings for the oil gallery and get that rinsed out with a solvent that is made for air conditioning systems. So this is really good at dissolving oils, doesn't leave a residue, and I can put it in the flush gun and get that highly pressurized through there and really make sure that everything's just good and clean. Alright, this one was giving me some trouble here. I finally got it loose. It is all buggered up. I don't know if the machine shop tried to get that out and couldn't or something, but I might have to see if we can find a replacement for that. So, yeah, I don't know. This is not stuff I put on here. This is probably from the previous machine shop. Alright, now get these out of here. I'm not quite sure why they didn't pop these out, unless they took them out and put them back, but we'll get them out. I think before I wash this out, we're going to go ahead and power brush this, as this is old paint that didn't come off. So if you look right here, you can see the factory number that they put on here. Looks like an 8 or something. Somebody painted on there. So, interesting. Alright, we've got our distributor hold down bolt. I think we'll just leave that in place, and then let's take these oil fittings out here. So, we can get all this stuff rinsed out. And then, we better see if we can get this plug out of the back of the block too. Okay. I've got this here. Just spin these out. These things are kind of a pain in the butt. They weren't wanting to seal before. Alright, you should be able to see a little better in there now. I just got a hex wrench here. So got a Allen wrench we're going to put in there. It does go in. It does not want to go in, but it does. Yeah, that's a steel one. I'll see if I got a brass one to replace that. Okay, once again, we're going to put these in these little ore sample bags, and we're just going to write on here what this is for. All right, all you ASMR weirdos, I'm going to leave you hanging right here, because you don't need to see an hour worth of me brushing this engine clean. Just know that we did it. Alright, I'm just going to give you the walk around here. I'm going handheld, so forgive the shaky video. Hopefully it's not too bad as I trip over things in the shop. Sit this down here so you can see. And we'll rinse this, of course. But next, we're going to pop these valves in some cardboard. Alright, we've got the valves set in here, marked which way is the front so you don't get confused. And we're just going to set these aside for now on our table of wonders. And we're going to go to cleaning this. Going to oil those just yet, but what we are going to do is go through and finish rinsing everything, give her one final spray down with brake cleaner, and then we'll go back through and oil these bores, and then I'm going to go through and paint this before I start doing assemblies. Okay, so here's what we're going to use to clean this. This is an AC flush gun. It is specifically meant for flushing out air conditioning compressor lines, and that means getting rid of oil, grit, and contamination. So we're going to stick this in this oil gallery, and this tapered cone fitting is perfect for this because it'll just seal in any one of these holes that we want to use it in. Okay, I can see some crud coming out over here. It's spraying onto this. So, watch there. We'll see if we can show you. See that? See that? Even after being rinsed at the machine shop several times. It's brand new solution. So okay, gonna add some more solvent. This stuff is not cheap. We had it left over from another job he's already paid for, so I thought let's use it, and it's really great at dissolving oil and all that gunk, and it doesn't leave a residue. And it lets me put it in this gun, which I can get a lot higher pressure, which means better cleaning action. So just keep that in mind. It might be worth the investment for your brand new motor. Ooh, yeah. See, and that's coming out the main bearings and everything flushing through there. It does rinse really quickly, so you got to be aware of that. You're going to go through your solvent pretty quickly. You see those marks? Okay, right here. That's gunk I just washed out of the inside of the engine. That would have gone straight to our main bearings and rods. So that's what I did last time, not with the flush gun, but I flushed it out with high pressure. I'm just trying to make sure this paint sticks this time. Customer wanted me to use Duplicolor this time because we didn't have good luck with the Pour 15, even though we prepped it properly last time. Somebody had accused us of not prepping it properly, and that's why the paint didn't stick. No, we're meticulous, but you know, they weren't there, so it didn't happen. All right, we're going to give that a few minutes to evaporate, and then we're going to tape this off, and then we'll get all this painted up. All right, here's what we're going to use to paint these. Got it all masked off on these areas where the gaskets are going to go, except for on the opposite side where the valve covers are, because I don't want it to rust. Okay, we're going to let that first coat dry for a few minutes. It's a little cool out here, so I'm going to let this dry for a little longer. And once I go get the kids from school, then we'll come back and hit it with another coat. And then we'll get moving on to the top coat. We're going to use this. Oh, what is it? Flat aluminum. So there's our part number. I was using universal aluminum, and I think they've discontinued it. So now I've got to reshoot a few of the parts I did. But no biggie, we'll just overshoot. They haven't been put into service yet, so that's not a huge issue. Alright, well, let's take you off the tripod and give you a walk around. The second coat of primer is just drying now. And I've got the oven on here to boost the temperature a little bit, because it's just a little bit cool for the paint. And I really didn't want to put the kerosene heater in here because I don't want to have any of that oil vapor from that heater getting around the shop right now. Alright, I'll give you the walk around here. I'm probably going to fall down while I'll look through the viewfinder here, but at least it'll be entertaining for you.
Alright guys, I'm like mop level 4 in here because I got to have the door shut. And my other respirator wasn't cutting it, but let's give you a tour around the final 2 coats of color. And this is going to be done. I can't rebag this until it's dry. So I'm going to have to sit here in the garage with it. And I've got the oven on just a little bit. I hope it can understand me. And I'm safe from chemical attacks now. So let's give you the walk around. She's still wet. So she's very shiny. It'll look really good when it's dry though. I think it turned out great. There's no uneven spots in this like there was with the Pour 15. So we're just gonna let that dry, and then we can unmask it, and we can start getting busy on the assembly here. So I'm anxious to get this back together and get it running. This stand here is the run stand, So all I've got to do is pick this back up with the lifting eye. Now we're going to put the bell housing back on, and then we're going to have to re-indicate the bell housing like we did in the previous video a couple years ago. Pull these out. So I don't want to wait till that dries because then they get stuck in there. I'm going to put my finger right in the paint. I think there's a spot right there I want to hit. Alright, we got that little touch up done. We're going to have to do touch up around these bolts too. No biggie, but you know, there's nothing you can do about it because this is on the stand. I mean, what are you going to do? Suspend it with one hand and shoot it? I will come back to you when I'm out of mop level 4. And then you can actually understand me.